Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be diving into something a little bit different, not motorsport management related, but F1 game related, and I don't think that this is talked about enough. So everyone loves to bring up the big ticket features they want in EA and Codemasters F1 games, right? We want classic cars back, we want classic tracks back, so on and so on. Don't get me wrong, I want those things too, but there are some lesser known features from older F1 games that I think deserve their time in the spotlight. These aren't the flashy headline grabbing additions that I think they would make all the advertising around, but for me, they made the experience richer, more fun, and dare I say, more human. So today I'm taking a trip down memory lane to highlight 3 obscure features I'd love to see brought back into the F1 games, and they are 10% race distances, hot seat mode, and TV mode. Let's start with a feature that for me, and it really is for me because I don't know if anyone else really cares, but 10% race distances. Now, if you've played some of the mid-2000s Sony PlayStation F1 games, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about here. These allowed you to play quick, satisfying career mode races without sacrificing immersion. Here's the thing, 10% races offered something that the blanket 5-lap races we get now simply can't. For example, a 10% Monaco race is 8 laps. That feels way more authentic than a 5-lap dash. Spa, that'd be 4 laps instead of 5. This might not seem like much, but this slight variation mirrors the quirks of real-life circuits and gives a much better sense of the calendar's pacing. But the real kicker that I love here, they had pit stops. Back in the day, these 10% races had tyre wear and pit stops integrated. Even at 10%, you had to make a pit stop, which added a layer of drama and realism. Nowadays, we've lost that. Pit stops in the 5-lap races on the Codemasters games, non-existent. And it's a shame, because with refueling no longer a factor, modern pit stops are shorter and more dynamic, perfect for shorter race formats. I understand why some people would think it's totally overkill to include pit stops in a quick race. Hell, I understand a lot of people that play these games probably don't even play the 5-lap races. But for me, it's the details that matter. I don't have the time or the energy to commit to full-length races or even 50% races these days. Life is busy, right? Work, relationships, other hobbies, other games. The 10% format allowed me to blast through a season without feeling like I was cheating the experience or being cheated. So Codemasters, if you're listening, please bring this back just for me, please. Now let's talk about hot seat mode. I genuinely think this is one of the most underappreciated multiplayer features ever, and I understand why it doesn't really exist on the game anymore. I mean, split screen hardly even exists on a lot of games anymore. Everything is online. But this was a mode, if you're not familiar with it, where you and up to 3 other people could take turns driving different cars during the same race. So you'd pass the controller around after a set number of laps or intervals, and the AI would handle your car while someone else drove theirs. What made this mode so special was how it bridged the gap between solo and social play. Picture this, you and a friend trading the controller back and forth, battling for position, overtaking their AI car like you're Senna going for a gap that doesn't exist. It was pure chaos, and honestly, I had a lot of fun with this. Me and my brother used to play this all the time. Sometimes we'd rope my dad in. Yeah, it was a really, really good mode for social play in the same room if you didn't want to play split screen. Say you have a small TV or something. But what really sold me on hot seat mode was the versatility. Even if you were playing alone, you could have a great time. I would routinely sit there, pick multiple cars, and immerse myself in different battles. I'd start in, say, a Ferrari and dominate the front, then swap to a midfield car and hustle some points, and then finish with a stint in a back marker and see how far I could drag them up the order. I genuinely spent hours doing this as a kid, and honestly, it was some of the most fun I've ever had with an F1 game. And with modern AI improvements, imagine how much more exciting and unpredictable this mode could be today. It's not just about multiplayer, it's about giving players more ways to engage with the sport that they love. Finally, let's talk about TV mode. This one is a bit niche, and I'll admit it's probably the least essential feature for me on the list. But back in the day, this mode was a low-key gem. Essentially, it let you set up any race you wanted, custom grid, race length, weather conditions, you name it, and then just sit back and watch. You were the race director, orchestrating the chaos. I'll be honest, I've spent an embarrassing amount of time doing this, right? As a kid, I'd set up dream scenarios, reverse grids, even just like a rain-soaked Monaco, and just see how the drama would unfold. The AI were not great at dealing with rain-soaked Monaco on some of these games, and it was chaos. Watching the AI duke it out was weirdly captivating, and it scratched an itch that modern games don't really cater to anymore. Now, I know what you're thinking, isn't this what F1 Manager is, right? And yeah, I agree. It is basically a spiritual successor to TV mode with, obviously the fact that you have to manage two cars. But other than that, you can just watch. If you wanted to, you could quite easily load up F1 Manager and just watch a race. But with rumours swirling about the future of the F1 Manager series, I recently just made a video on that, if you would care to go and watch it. I can't help but feel there's an opportunity for Codemasters to fill that gap. But here's the additional old TV mode feature that I think would be a total game changer in the modern F1 game, and that I have seen people asking for, and that is grid customization integrated, specifically integrated into Grand Prix mode. Back in the day, in TV mode, you could design the starting grid however you wanted. Want to see a reverse grid championship? Done. PSL Racing has done multiple reverse grid championship seasons on his channel. If you want to go watch those, they're very entertaining. He's done a couple on the old mid-2000s games. But you could do anything. Want to give a back marker pole position just for the bants? Go for it. The possibilities with this were honestly endless, and I really think that modern F1 games would massively benefit from bringing this back. So there you have it, 3 obscure features I'd love to see return to the F1 games. 10% race distances, specifically in career mode, hot seat mode, and TV mode. These might not be features that dominate the headlines, but they add depth, variety, and most importantly, fun to the F1 games of old. So what do you think? Did you play any of these modes back in the day? Are you nostalgic for these? Are there any other features you'd love to see make a comeback? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more F1 gaming content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.